Derek.
That's right, here we are.
Dude, it's been a while. Stain had a great song. It's been a while, but episode 36 of the Beyond the Curve, the MX podcast. It is. We're gonna say the checkered flag is flying on 2023.
Yeah, the year has wrapped up from here.
Yeah,
we've been busy.
there are still races to be had, but for the most part, the Derek Schaefer Racing and Trey Heath Racing and coverage of racing has concluded, and we will start back the very beginning of January. Yeah. So today what we're going to cover is, let's see, there was Mini-O's, there was the last round of the Dade City year-long series, and this past weekend, the last round of the I-4 Triple Crown Series at an unbelievably cool facility.
Yeah. And
so
there is one more Florida race coming up that we'll talk about too, and it's a wild one.
So there's stuff to talk about, but it's the end of the season, and honestly, today's round's gonna have to be handled by you. I did take in a day of Mini-O's, which is always fun. It's like Lollapalooza on dirt bikes.
Oh yeah.
And then you did the last round of Dade City, and then I cruised down to watch the I-4 Triple Crown Series at the new MotoBros Punta Gorda. Congratulations, MotoBros Punta Gorda. That is a cool facility.
Yeah, they're doing a really nice job down there.
Yeah.
It's not all quite together yet, but it was together enough for the race, and it's beautiful.
So let's dive in. Let's start with you paid your money, and you were an alternate, and then you got into Mini-O's with Bowen on the P-Dub and Supercross. The only thing the P-Dubs do, Supercross, it wasn't what you had hoped, but it probably was what you expected, but what an experience.
Yeah, no, we had a blast. A little stressful getting there and, getting in the last week and a half of it. So we had a lot of planning that took place, and thank you to Shred MX Conditioning, Ashley and Phil Harris, for helping us get there. It was fun. It was hectic. Getting there was a mud fest. When we get there Friday afternoon, Friday morning, that place had taken in 3 days worth of rain the day before everybody showed up. So we had 2-foot ruts pulling 45-foot campers in. And, it was insane, but a lot of good racing. It was cool to see. Phoenix Honda was there, Future MX, there's Rocky Mountain KTM. There's so many teams there. Dunlop was there, VP was there. So all your big racing sponsors and teams, they were all there. Team Green, the whole 9 yards. So the kids got to experience a lot before we even got into racing. We did a lot of talking with a lot of cool people, and it was fun.
Yeah, it's one of those things like Michelle and I cruised up to watch the first day of Supercross, and let me tell you, you have to do yourself a favor and take a break from the racing because it's all day. Mm-hmm. There's racing all day, and I will touch on that on my part of it. But they do an amazing job getting that many people in. Check out an aerial of Mini-O's, and then go walk around and see where these people are coming from. That was the coolest part.
Everywhere. It's not. Yeah. There's way more plates from the rest of the U.S. than there is Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wild. When I was pulling in, behind Washington State, Oregon, the whole 9 yards. All the West Coast, which is crazy. That's a drive.
Yeah. That's a commitment.
They all show up. I mean, it's the biggest amateur event in the country.
Yeah. So. It's just a cool vibe because you have your practice, you have Supercross, and then it immediately transitions to motocross. Mm-hmm. Oh, and by the way, there's Thanksgiving in the middle of this.
Yep.
There's stuff going on every night. They had bingo one night. They had movies. They have round tables. It's just a. Yes, is it a zoo, and do parents waste a lot of money doing it with their kid not making pro? Yeah. Sure. But are they if they're doing it properly, they're making memories? That's where are you going to go on vacation?
Yeah. See, like for us, I did not expect results by any means. It's Bone's first year racing. I think he handled the pressure well, but you're gonna spend that money doing something stupid anyway. And we tried to do it on the cheap end, as cheap as we could. We're from Florida, so it's not near as expensive as it is for a lot of these other people. But you can also go to Minio's and get some serious deals.
Yeah.
So like, we stocked up on Christmas stuff, and I bought tires for $30 a piece for the bikes, and that kind of stuff. Everybody's got everything on sale there, and so you go prepared to spend a lot of money, but you're actually saving a lot of money too being there.
Yeah.
So it's the classes are expensive, but where else are they going to go and get to race a supercross track and ride with the fastest kids in the country besides Loretta's? But Minio's is an open invitational where anybody can go as long as you register in time.
Yeah.
So it's cool. Like I said, we didn't expect results. We did what we were there to do. I think it could have been better, but we also bought a brand new bike to him right 3 days before we went, so he had no time on the bike. He had no practice on the Supercross track because we left Minio's and went to Dade City for the last race there, and there's a lot involved. But like I said, you're gonna spend that money somewhere. I'd rather spend it doing something that we enjoy.
No, it's cool, and I will tell you, as much of a zoo it is, that the pit bikes and golf carts and one wheels and bicycles and that stuff zooming around is a little, for my old brain, is a little overwhelming.
It is like I watched pit bikes hit golf carts.
Yeah.
You watch golf carts run into trucks. It's ridiculous, and like when the sun goes down, that place.
And those people don't drive slow; they are flying.
No,
I did a lot of walking in the walking areas or out in the pits where the congestion's not, because it's one of those. It's kind of like going to spring break in Daytona. You can go to spring break in Daytona and not get in the zoo, or you can get on A1A and cruise.
Yeah.
And that main strip to the starting line, viewing areas, and then out the back of the pits, dude, it's like going to Sebring and being in Green Park. If anybody knows what 12 hours of Sebring is like, go to Green Park, and it's a festival.
Oh, it's straight NASCAR inside,
Yeah.
The pit area where you can ride, but it's kids on, like my kids were not allowed to go anywhere by themselves.
Yeah.
But most people don't have our mindset, I guess.
But no, it's fun. It's fun. They're controlled. They're not leaving. They're there.
Yeah.
It is. Is it dangerous? Probably. But dude, it's been going on for years, and I will tell you, whatever they're lacking in the off-track stuff. I saw Big John there, like doing security stuff. He didn't even work for them, but he was there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he was covering for a team or something, or Racer Productions or whatever, who was putting on the stuff. But the on-track product, their medical crew did not walk to stuff; they ran.
Yeah.
They knew how to pick up the little bikes and tilt them to the fuel so they could get them cranked back up.
Their flaggers are on point.
Yes.
There's TikTok videos of the flaggers, like how well.
Yeah. So the on-track product, you'll figure out the off-track product.
They have it together. It doesn't matter if you're running a small series, a big series, or a major national event like that. The pits are nuts.
Yeah.
Like you could throw everybody out, and the next year it's going to be all the same. Or the next race, it's going to be.
You can go to your local FTR event and see nutty pits. So
you can't really calm that down.
Yeah.
The cops were there.
Yeah.
Like I said, when the sun went down, there was some pretty wild stuff went on, but that's not, like I said, that's not something you can ever contain.
No.
You can't.
Unless you just say no pit vehicles at all.
And they're still going to ride them.
Yeah. But no, it's a great event. Awesome. And it is, you pulled in on Friday. They had early parking Thursday or Wednesday?
I think it started Wednesday.
For early parking.
Yeah, like the vendors started pulling in all week, and then I think early parking was Wednesday and Thursday, and you had to pay to early park. And then we're only 3 hours away, so we had to register between 1 and 2:30, I believe, on Friday. So we tried to be there by like 1. and
Yeah,
I think we left here at 9 in the morning.
because registration is alphabetical. They
Yeah.
like everything has a place.
Yeah, everything's time.
Yeah,
You know, it's very structured.
yeah. And then the racing goes from Sunday through Saturday.
Mhm.
It is a week long of racing.
Mhm.
And I mean, I saw Mike Brown did 5 classes. Mike Brown's my age, and he did 5 classes.
Mike Brown's always out there tearing it up.
5 classes.
Yeah.
But think about like a little kid that can do a couple of, because you could run a P Dub on Supercross, and you could run your KTM Mini on Supercross too. But then you could go run a 65 if you like you could run a lot of races.
Yeah.
Whatever you're willing to pay for. Yeah. But Mike Brown, the old man, ran 5 classes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's. I mean, we're not talking super long motos, but we're talking the intensity of those motos.
Well, some of those guys went just all week nonstop. You know, you got like Drew Adams, who you'll see him on TV here soon. I mean, you already do, but that kid just moto after moto after moto.
I'm guessing we're going to see him at all futures rounds this year.
I would imagine. Yeah. I mean, the kid's fast. Christian Janik, those boys are quick.
Christian, the day I was there, was struggling a little bit, but I'm guessing he picked it back up.
Yeah, and he finished like second overall in one of them, and I know I'm trying to think. Like the day that I watched, I have a couple videos of him. Seemed like day one, the first few motos, but like towards the end of the day, like, he was on rails again. So
I'll say Drew Adams. I was watching, because that's another thing. This is a full-on TV production on YouTube and Racer TV.
Racer TV, yeah.
And you could sit at home and watch racing all day long.
Yeah.
And they covered it, like all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Every race, they covered it. And it was awesome because one of the round, I think it was the next day, I was watching Drew Adams, and he crashed and came back to like 6th, and they were commenting in the booth of, hey, is this what teams are looking? Hey, you get a good start and you're winning, fantastic. How do you come through traffic?
Mm-hmm.
Because most of these guys, these top guys, they don't come through traffic. How does a guy look? So did Drew Adams earn some points because he was able to work his way through? You know, and that's those things that watching a week's worth of racing on 2 different disciplines opens up.
Yeah, like, and Christian Janik obviously did something right. He did finish third overall in the SX Pro Sport, the 250 Pro Sport. So, like I said, he fought a lot because I don't know if his bad starts. It's hard to see the start from where we were all sitting because the way they have it, the start gate goes to all 3 tracks that are on the property, and they just they doze it into wherever. But it's the amount of people that came from all over the country to showcase talent. It's cool. And I don't know if I did tell you the Levi Mayer that was down at Punta Gorda with us this weekend. He won the e-bike class there, the Supercross track. So it's cool for the kids to get to race with these other kids, and it's wild. It's fun.
So I have a question from someone who grew up here and has been to Gatorback for outdoor nationals, Gold Cup, Winter Ams, Mini O's. For someone who finally got to go to the Mini O's, what was it like as a race fan, dad? Holy cow! What was it like?
Yeah, so like I've watched Mini O's my whole life. Always said that I would be there. Never raced it, but here we are. We're there. It's eye opening. It was that one experience that you're always trying to get. Yeah, I wasn't behind bars, but my kids were. So one of them was. So I still felt very fulfilled with it, and it's better than I expected. You can't grasp how many people are actually there unless you're there.
Yeah. Because
we know the size of it's a 100-acre property, and it is packed to the max with campers and RVs and bikes, and it's wild. It was cool. We'll definitely be there next year. So, I
mean, this is completely trivial, but I would like to. My wife and I drove up early. We left at 4:30 Sunday morning so that we could be up there to see the full day of racing. And we pulled into the front gate, told the lady, hey, we just want a one-day pass. Cool, you got to come back and get your money back. I said, is there anywhere close by I can park? And these people are dealing with idiots like me all day long. And she looked at me and she's like, hey, if you'll go around this building, come down this aisle, you can park behind my truck. I'm not going anywhere. And I literally had probably one of the best parking spots at Minio's.
Heck yeah.
One, be nice to people. And sometimes being that like, hey, I'm just here to watch some riders. I've got my the rider I'm working with is coming to visit, and the funny thing is our rider came to visit. And he couldn't find parking, and I'm like, yeah, I got you. So I want to thank them for as wild as it is. The people who are working there, dude. Yeah, they're getting paid, but man, I can't imagine putting up with that for 10 days.
No, it's one day is exhausting.
Yeah.
I mean, just being there it mentally drains you.
Yeah.
Just dealing with the commotion.
Yeah.
But luckily we were like in the back field where it's
pretty quiet.
If you want to get away from it, it's quiet back there.
But no, so Minio's experience overall for the Schaefer family, good experience?
Yeah. It's like I said, we'll definitely be back next year.
Have you already signed up and put your deposit down?
No signing up yet. They don't do that up until like right before. So they did just open Winter Ams up there already. So
yeah.
I don't know if that's on the books or not. We'll have to decide. But yeah, we'll be there next year. I think the results are going to be a lot better next year. I'm proud of the kid for what he did while we were there. He did a terrible start in the Moto 1, and it's kind of be expected. They line up with 40 other bikes, so it's nerve-wracking, and he's never been on the bike before. And then he fought his way through and then crashed on the finish line, and they took him off the track, which sucked. Put us in the LCQ, and then he got a bad start. On a PW, in a race of that nature, if you get a bad start, it's over. They only had 2 laps to catch up. I think he caught back up to 22nd. So it wasn't bad. I mean, we'll come back fighting next year, though.
I think the coolest thing for me is watching live and watching on the play. Was that over those 3 days of the Supercross, the track changed a lot. First day, there were ruts. Guys were taking insides and outsides, and the sweeper, which guys were just railing the outside of the sweeper on the first day. By the third day, and I think they did it because they were trying to catch up, get motos in, the track was way more hard packed, and lines looked completely different. Like stuff that you saw the first day, you weren't seeing on the third day because it was like, okay, we've packed this track in, it's hard, and lines looked, and I think that says a lot about what you have to do, especially these guys that are trying to make that transition, is adjusting to the track that's given. Because I noticed that. I noticed for as low as my skill set is, I noticed how different the track was on when they were handing out the trophies as it was on the first day.
Even the first day, the way the track broke down, like when we were out there, the PWs were doubling the braking bumps.
Yeah.
Like it coming down the start straight, essentially, it breaks down wild. The ruts get deep, and the mud and the water the few days before just soaked into that track, and it was messy for day one, and then once it dried up, it got hard packed. And, but yeah, that track was changing every few motos. It was a whole new track.
But it was cool, and they take the time to do the maintenance. I mean, yes, they're trying to get a 79 motos in on day one.
That's what it was,
but they don't get them all in. But that's the number. Well, they still took the time, did the track maintenance, and we're gonna plow through. And they had a mud day for the motocross, and I think that just shows like, hey, you have to be able to ride soft, hard, changing conditions.
Call this the mini Olympics for a reason.
Yeah,
you don't know what you're getting into until you're on the track.
Yeah. So. But no, great event. Was that Unlimited MX or who's the host?
Unlimited Sports
MX.
Yep.
Great event, Minio's. It's an iconic event. We'll be back again next year. Let's jump into Dade City. Final round.
No, Dade City. We didn't do so hot the last Dade City, but we rushed down there for Minios, and our oldest took some gnarly crashes. It was actually pretty mind blowing, the crashes that he took. But they soaked in just as much water during that week, and the track was messy. It was weird being there in just the bed of a truck in a rush, but it was a good ending, I suppose, and kids had fun, but we were all focused on Minios to actually get the time to sit and enjoy it. So we have the banquet this weekend,
and that's the whole point of this: is you made it through the season, and now there's a reward. Everybody gets to go hang out.
Yeah. So this weekend we're just gonna. Usually there's the stress of getting there on the weekends, and this weekend, our racing season's done, but we still have racing events. But it's a banquet where we all just get to relax, eat, drink some beverages, and just hang out and reminisce on the season and
get awards. And
yeah, it'll be fun. Like I think Bowen finished 8th overall in his class, and there was a ton of PWs. And that was going from never riding before in his life to where he's at now. So it's going to be fun. I'm actually really excited for it.
Very cool. It's awesome that Dade City does this. They have a full long season, and you can pick and choose what you want to run in Florida. And Dade City is one of the few tracks that has a full on all year long season.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there's double points, sometimes there's single points, sometimes they skip a couple weeks versus just every other. And then at the end of the year, they do a banquet. Like they actually do a banquet, and they interview kids, and they pass out the trophies and the swag, and then they get you prepped for next year.
Yeah.
And I just think it's cool that there's a track that's still doing that. And congratulations to Randy Yoho on another successful year and keeping it going, and look forward to seeing what 2024 looks like at the facility. Don't know your schedule yet. Doesn't really matter. At some point, you'll either be racing the series, or the series you'll be racing will be there. So you're going to be there.
Yeah, we'll be there regardless, and we're going to hit some of them. I mean, we haven't totally decided what we're going to do yet. We're pretty in depth on. We got to race some Loretta's kids this weekend, and we actually held up really well. If the bike would have stayed on two wheels, all the motos. So the speed that I seen out of our kid this weekend was incredible.
Yes, your kids did enjoy going ass over tea kettle this weekend.
They did, man. It was it was rough. Like even a lot of the fast kids that we race with were wrecking. Like us, the parents were all talking down the line, like, why can our kids not stay on two wheels? And that track was.
It wasn't bad.
No, like I was on the track, parents for the PWs, and some of the ruts were really deep for PWs, and the faces were pretty beat up. That's where we struggled, is Bowen would get cross-rutted on and just Superman on a bunch of these jumps. We bent bars twice this weekend, and I fixed bars twice, and we still wrecked in the third moto. I just don't know what it was, and like I do think that the kid was going so fast that he was not used to the speed that he was trying to maintain. But it was wild. So if we can keep that speed on the ground, I think we'll be ready to hit some qualifiers this year.
So the Triple Crown Series, we've jumped in from Dade City to the I-4 Triple Crown Series, also run by another Yoho.
Yeah,
Kenny. Honestly, getting that track to commit and open and do it.
Yeah, they put some serious time into getting that facility ready for this weekend, and I'm glad they did, because that facility is awesome.
It's cool. It's cool, and I talked to actually, yes, I talked to a lot of people, and the feeling is it's going to be great for some big state races.
Yeah.
It may be a little tight for a larger race.
Yeah, they did put a big track in there, so it's an old car track, and they essentially used the whole stadium as a motocross track. I didn't check anybody's lap times. I was going to ask Matt Bell with HBI Racing. They were there. They're a big sponsor of the I-4 Series races. They did hold a $2,000 money class, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But I did hear that a lot of the fast guys are pulling like a 140 lap time. That's a
big track.
That's a big lap time down here.
Yeah, so they could maybe. I don't know how much changing they're going to be able to do to it because they've sodded all the jumps. It's. I feel like it's kind of built the way it's going to be built with maybe some tweaking here and there. Because I had in my mind a picture of the start line is where the start line is, but instead of running it this way, you could almost have some shorter lanes with one connecting lane, and almost sit in the stands and just watch.
Yeah.
But hey, I don't know this stuff, and I know that diesel is expensive, and moving dirt is expensive.
Oh yeah.
But track was it was really cool. One, to have a nice bathroom. Walk into the bleachers, watch the racing. There's a real flag stand because they're using the old, like, late model flag stand. And pressure washers set up to wash your bikes.
Yeah, MotoMuck did an awesome job with that this weekend. So.
And really good food trucks. I mean, you had a variety of food trucks, vendors. So I have something marching in my ears right now. It went away.
Not sure what that was.
But no, just a cool facility. And I thought of this. This is the business side. What was right next door to that racetrack?
Oh, I didn't pay attention. The airport. Yeah.
The airport. And guess what? There were planes taking off the entire time.
Yeah, it was constant.
And guess what? There were motorcycles racing. Maybe this is a thought process for people. I want to build a racetrack. Let's put it near an airport because there's constant noise.
Yeah.
Allegiant Airlines was taking 737s out of there, and they're not quiet. And I was like, this might be a solution to motocross problems.
Yeah, you put it next to something that's already loud. And you're not going to have the issues where we have around here where all these communities are going up and they don't want the noise. And I don't think dirt bike tracks are that loud anyway.
And they're only periodic.
Yeah, most people seem to think they're pretty loud.
But no, great facility. What was your take on the? Because you've done some of the I4, you've done the main I4 series some this year, and you've also done the Triple Crown. How do you feel that series is going?
The series is in a good place. The Triple Crown's a little bit different. It's a 5-race series. I think we did really, really well we only raced 3 of the 5, but we bought back 2 of them. So you can buy in. You only get like 20 points per race. We still came out with a second and third in the championship. I've only racing 3 of the races, but it's just a cool. There's not many places that hold a Triple Crown type 3 moto format race. So, but the turnout I think is really well. I4 series itself's getting a lot of traction. Kenny Yoho's doing a really, really good job with that. So I like it. It's a good atmosphere. If there's issues, they're easily worked through, and it's kind of all up to the parents. So it's like a rider's choice series. We can either, we could cut the track in half if we wanted for PWs. If the majority thinks that there's an issue, so there's a lot of fluctuality in it. We can kind of do what we want, so it's very family oriented. It's just a fun Florida series.
Did you just create a new word?
Fluctuality.
Fluctuality.
You like that?
I like that. We're gonna go with that. We can add that with the Alex Martin outstandable and smiling in my helmet. Well, I think the outstandable came from Aaron Plessinger, but smiling in my helmet is a Alex Martin phrase. So fluctuality. Please.
Just seemed like a good word to throw in.
That is a good. Well, I like the word humidic, which doesn't exist. Like when it's super, super humid, I really feel it's humidic, but that's not a real word.
In my dictionary, they all exist.
Yeah, humidic is so fluctuality. It's humidic, and we're getting a fluctuality in seasons right now.
Heck yeah!
I mean, Derek and I. It's Florida. Derek's in a hoodie.
I'm freezing,
and I'm in a long sleeve dress shirt because it was Florida today. It was 52 when I went out for my run.
It's gonna be 40 tonight or something like that.
Yeah, I don't have to run tomorrow. Michelle has to run tomorrow, so God bless her.
Sorry about her luck.
But no, I think so. Awesome year of racing. General takeaways from all the series you've done, the series you've seen, and then we need to dive into a little pro stuff just to because that's what we cover a lot.
Yeah.
of anyway.
Well, before we go too far with the I-4 stuff, so like I said, HBI held a $2,000 money class. HBI Racing, obviously they have the pros. You got Ty Masterful, Caden Braswell. Hardy Munoz was there this weekend.
I got to meet Hardy. He and his girlfriend and her parents and their brother, they were hysterical. I sat and talked with them for, I don't know, 10 minutes. They were hysterical. The little brother, he could be a comedian.
Yeah, Hardy's such a good kid. The guy, he's a full out send it. But the money class was awesome there, and then they had an HBI class where the whole team, the riders that were there, got to go out and all race each other, and it was really cool. But Hardy went out and just straight tore it up in the money class. It was fun to watch him ride at a local event. But then we also, the Jameer Scott, we tried to watch him pull a big booter, and he ate it and destroyed a subframe on one of the new HBI bikes. I think it was a Joey Keel. He was on a Yamaha coming, slammed into his bike. Nothing he could do. Jameer Scott was laying on the down face of a jump, and we watched him flatten his front wheel, and it looked like the forks were bent and leaking, and that was a wild
ride. The case was leaking on the bike because they were walking it back with it on.
Yeah.
And a kid came up and said, "Hey man, you're leaking oil." So I think the cases were leaking as well.
You could, when they crashed, it was silent because you seen it coming, and then you just heard everything break when he hit. I've seen some gnarly crashes, and it was slow motion, and then he hit so hard that it's 60-0 right now, and he just flopped that bike right over. But you could tell how painful. I mean, going that fast to 0 is painful to begin with, but it was crazy.
So I got to meet Jameer as well.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to thank Matt and Darla. Both of them accepted me into the tent and took time to talk with me. By the way, Miss Darla, you give great hugs. You can make anybody feel good because she wanted to hug me.
She's such a good person.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, it's hotter than Hades here, and this woman wants to give me a hug, and I'm like wearing like moto clothes, and she wanted to talk to me, and they were talking about their daughter, and it's just so cool because like this guy, not only the family, he and Darla, they run this successful business. They have this motocross team. They're helping amateurs. He put money in to have his a pro race, and they just opened their pits up and said, "Hey, come on in."
They did snow cones Saturday for the kids and anybody really.
Yeah.
It's a big line for snow cones for the kids,
But I got to meet Jameer, and nice kid. And I will tell you this: he was so crushed because he didn't have another bike to race.
Mm-hmm.
But I went over to go get my second batch of tacos, which we will talk about later. And he was washing the bike to get it prepped to figure out what he needed to do. And I thought, dude, this guy had a crappy day. And he's over here with a smile on his face, washing the bike at the pressure washing stations. And he's like, yeah, I just got to figure out what I need to do to get it fixed back up. And I was like, that's cool. Like, hey, you're okay. Crush, you can't race.
Yeah.
But, hey.
That's racing. I mean.
And I got to meet the manager at HBI. By the way, what a Duck Dynasty type beard this dude
Chris
runs.
Alley.
Oh man,
he's a really good guy. I know he takes over like the services while they're the church service part of it while they're on the road, and he's like I said, the whole team is just, it's such a good atmosphere to be like just being around them in general. Matt and Darla are doing extremely well with that, and they're such outstanding people.
Stole a little bit of time with Matt and talked to him, and it was cool that they put in that time, knowing what they're getting ready to embark on. Mm-hmm. Not saying private news, just they're getting ready to go into their first full Supercross, Motocross, SMX series, and he's down here at theoretically a local race, sponsoring whole crew, everybody's there, and it's like, dude, don't you need to go away and rest for a bit? Like why are you here? And he rode. He got hit. He did some
hitting.
Yeah, he did some hitting. Like it was like, dude, we got to protect you, man. You got a busy year in front of you. Like, chill out. And I say that somewhat selfishly because we have nothing to do with HBI Racing except we're going to be utilizing some of their services for next year. So it's like, dude, you got to take care of yourself. Like, we haven't even started yet.
Yeah, I think he's like me. He works so well under pressure like that, just being busy all the time.
Yeah.
I know they just came back from a good little expedition in North Carolina, so got well rested up and came down, made the haul to come hang out with everybody.
I need to put my venison order in because
yeah,
I need to do that with him. So Matt, I'm putting my venison order in right now. But no, great race, great way to end the season. But there is more racing. So dive into some of the racing that's coming up. We probably won't be covering it, but there is racing happening.
I mean, there's always off and in racing here and there, but Orlando MX is holding a massive race here this weekend. That's a $30K payout. So Open A and B is $12,000 payout. So that's a big race around here.
And there are rules on that, so that payout sounds like, oh wow, that's cool. But in order for those guys to get pro points or pro, it has to be a certain amount of money. There is a rule about what it has to pay in order for it to be considered a
I don't
pro-am race. Not points, but
see, like this race is not pro. It's not pro-am.
Yeah.
It's just it's called the Christmas race. I know it's like an annual race. There's a whole lot of sponsors. I do not know a ton about it, but every single class pays. So even the PW class is like $500 payout.
Do you have a contact webpage or something where people could go look it up?
So the Orlando MX on Facebook.
Okay.
If you look them up, the flyers on there. It shows all the different classes. I know they have like Stasic Racing, and it shows all the classes, all the payouts on there. The women's class is like $5,000 payout, and it's not like $12,000 to win or $5,000 to win. That's a payout for the class.
Do you know if you and I threw a skirt on, we still wouldn't win? Those girls are flying
now. Yeah, they're booking.
Yeah,
but
these ladies.
Even the C class and stuff like that, they all have some kind of payout.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, all the 50 classes. I mean, every single class has a payout.
That's cool.
So it's just cool. It's a good Christmas race. There's a lot to do there. If we didn't have the banquet, we would be there just to be there. I do believe our rider Rylan Munson is going to race the Open AB, so the big payout class.
Okay.
To try and
bring
home some cash. So.
Do we get to deduct that off our sponsorship if he cashes out? Like,
I don't know. We weren't there to help. So.
Hey, you did well. I'm just kidding, Riley. I'm just kidding. There is more racing coming up though. I think the next big series is the Winter Am Series. When does that kick off?
I think the first one is in January.
Oh, okay, so
February. I'll have to look it up.
So we really do take a little bit of a break. There's some off races, like you said. But.
So the first one is going to be at Diamondback, which is at the Gatorback facility, same place as Minios. But Diamondback is not used for Minios. But I got to look at the date, but it does start in January, early February.
Okay.
So that kicks off. It's another 5-round series,
and it used to be the shit.
It still is.
But Winter Ams used to be like the old pros back in the day, in the 80s. They all were here, and they raced Winter Ams.
Yeah.
They raced Golden States, and they raced Winter Ams. And you came here because that's how you tested yourself before season.
Unlimited Sports MX, which is who holds Minios, they hold Florida Gold Cup, Minios, and Florida Winter Ams.
Yeah. So
it's the only 3 series that you get to ride at Gatorback. So they're usually extremely popular. There's a lot of recognition at those races. So, like I said, we're undecided if we're going to hit that, but Florida racing never really stops. We get Christmas off, and that's pretty much the gist of it.
So I have a big question for you. Loretta Lynn's schedule has dropped.
Mm-hmm.
You saw the areas. Are you a year away? Are you going to go give it a shot just to see what it's like? Or it's cool, there's some really good venues, and you're just going to let it ride this year?
So it's. I think we're thinking if we can get where we need to be, we're gonna try the local ones,
Okay.
the area qualifiers, just see what happens. Get some more gate drops with, that statue of a race and that many kids at a race because it's no joke.
Oh, yeah.
Um, see where we stand, what we need to work on, and go from there. This will be the last year on the PW, so I think we can get to that point, maybe. He's not far off of it, honestly.
Because it's a festival of racing if that's what you're gonna attempt.
Yeah. So if we were to qualify at an area, then if we're in it.
Do you chase all the areas, or do you pick and choose your areas? Because there's a lot of area races.
There is. Obviously, we'd hit the one at Gatorback, and that's our closest, and see what happens from there. We got WW, which is about the same distance away. I'm thinking just go see where we stack up at Gatorback because that will be the first one, and then that'll kind of give us a good idea because it's a money venture too.
But you're not going to chase multiple areas to try to get into regionals.
I don't think so. Like it's not if.
So you haven't lost your mind yet.
We got to see where we stand because, like I said, if the kid can hold the speed that he held this weekend and actually maintain it to the ground, we'll be in good shape.
We had great speed through the air too.
Through the air, oh yeah. And it blows my mind that the way our kid flies off a bike and he gets right back up. Like when I fly off a bike like that, it hurts. But we'll see how it goes. We're gonna hit some of them.
But it's not a rush.
I'm not going to travel the U.S.
Okay.
We got a lot of our pro stuff going on. And,
yeah.
So we got to, this week we're going to sit down and do some scheduling. Now that racing is over, we can actually think about scheduling. So we'll start working on the 2024 schedule and figure it out.
Let's wrap it up this way. Let's touch on pros. And then let's touch on kind of 2024 for Derek and Trey with the Beyond the Curve, the MX podcast, just what our life is going to look like come January. But first, the pros. We've had all the announcements. We've had riders announced, gear deals, what they're doing, who they're with. Is there anything shocking to you that kind of...
No, it's all news that's already been there but not announced.
Yeah.
Nothing that I can think of that's crazy.
I did think the what do they call it? The SMX Racing League announced the SMX Futures thing.
Mm-hmm.
I actually spoke with a team owner this weekend about potential of arena cross as an avenue of some. I come home and find this SMX Sports League. I believe Feld and Pro Motocross, are they trying to make it so that this is how you go? Because there's 4 or 5 rounds of Supercross, 2 rounds with the combine for outdoors, and then the SMX finale.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be able to do anything doing arena crossing? Because AMA's got their own arena cross now, and it's not bad. The first round was good this weekend in Boise, Idaho, which, by the way, it was cold in Boise, Idaho.
Oh, it's always cold.
But I'm curious what you're feeling on that. I think it's great that these kids are going to get real experience on real tracks. But what about the kids who don't have the money that need to go race arena cross?
I don't really think that. I mean, I don't want to put it bluntly, but I don't think they look at it the money standpoint. They don't care. Not the kids that are racing, the supporters of the event, or Feld and all them. Either you make it or you don't. It's not really their problem.
Yeah.
They're making their money. It's a business to them. They don't care about the competition because no matter what, the riders will be there.
If you look at the schedule, it's not. If you're a rider, because you have to be A, B, I think, to do futures.
Mm-hmm.
California, Daytona, St. Louis. I'm missing one, and then Red Bud and Ironman, and then the SMX finale.
Mhm.
And it's like, suck it up, Buttercup. Get in the motorhome and let's go, because we're driving all
Oh,
over
yeah,
the country
they're
for
all,
7 races.
They are all over the place, and it's hard. Like that schedule's always hard, but I feel like they're just making it harder.
But I'd like to dive in a little more to the arena cross thing as we move forward, kind of as a podcast, just because it is such a cool series. Like, it is a cool series, and it's going to be in Florida this year.
Yeah, arena cross has always been intriguing. I don't like the starts, but
Yeah,
and it's a very small
yeah,
track. It's tight. I watched some clips from the weekend, and the close combat is pretty much what
Yeah.
you want to call it.
but
Is
there's good riders. I mean, Ryan Preece and Kyle Peters. Those names we know. And
Yeah.
Solitaire had a rider there. Wageman was there. I mean, it's not riders that you don't know. It's just a different form of
well, a lot
racing.
of these guys have raced Supercross and just went back down.
Yeah.
Because the Arena Cross series is a lot more fun, and obviously Supercross is, that's everybody's state of mind. But a lot of these guys don't want to run outdoors, and the Arena Cross series is a long series, and they get that stadium racing all the time. It's a lot shorter, but I think it's really, really growing.
Yeah.
And with the new deal that they have, I think it's going to be pretty good.
We'll dive into that more as we reset in January.
Yeah, now it's getting more popular.
Yeah.
I think it's
And we'll cover that more, because I think between our podcast focusing on stadiums and outdoors, and then the off-road side with Enduro and GNCC. By the way, that side of the world exploded this week with some team announcements, and it's like, holy cow! Okay, off-road is doing just fine. Like it's so I'd like to dive into the stadium and outdoor side a little more, but for us, for Derek and Trey, we take a little bit of a respite. For you, it's probably stripping down bikes, cleaning RVs, that kind of stuff, and as you said, getting schedules. Our January looks okay, and then February comes around, and it's going to be here before we know it, and it's plane, trains, and automobiles for us.
Yeah, essentially, it's going to be a wild Supercross season this year. As we announced before, we'll be at 250 East Supercross. It's going to be exciting. It's stressful already, trying to get everything.
Yeah.
We're trying to get our ducks in a row.
Trying to help Rylan get his ducks in a row.
And that's more what I mean.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of scheduling and planning and talking with people that are in this and making it all happen. There's a lot that goes in behind the scenes that people don't get to see.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of livelihood changes that are made to make what we do happen. So it's going to be exciting, though. Like, I'm really pumped for it.
Well, I don't remember when the first Supercross is this year, but I think we will probably convene before it to do hey, we're back. And
our first one's what, like February 3rd or 4th?
Our first one is
something like that. It's the first 250 East round in Detroit.
Well, Anaheim has got to be, because New Year's is Monday.
Yeah, typically the first Saturday.
So I'm guessing the next Saturday, so that would be like the 6th or 7th.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
So we will probably convene maybe the 2nd, not the 1st, because we'll be partying and that kind of stuff. But maybe the 2nd, we'll talk about the upcoming Supercross. And then from that point forward, it's going to be Katie bar the door, and we'll be covering the pros, we'll be covering the amateurs, we'll be covering anything we can stick our finger in as far as racing is concerned, and have a help that we can help with.
Yeah, it'll be full tilt again, just like it was at the beginning of this year. There'll be a lot more content this year.
Yeah.
Live action stuff at the races, and we got to get all those details worked out. But I think it's going to be exciting for everybody.
And we want guests. I know you're working on a couple.
Mm-hmm.
We want guests, and whether that means those guests come sit on the pool deck with us, or we go to their back porch, we don't really care. We want the guest, one, Because we're actually just curious. We're curious, and we love hearing people's stories. So if you know anybody that wants to be on the podcast, I don't care if it's a Grom's parent, a sponsor, a manufacturer, team owner, rider, we don't care. We don't care. We love the guest, and we love having that perspective from other people.
Yeah.
So, but Derek, it's been fun. We skipped a couple weeks, but 36 episodes in our first season of doing this, and we still are doing it.
Yeah, it hasn't really stopped.
No.
Besides the busy last few weeks, try to pack all the action into one episode here.
But congratulations to you and the family on making it through your first Pee Wee season, Pee Wee Dad season. Awesome. Good job. Congratulations to all the tracks that have operated this year, put on races, hosted races, series. It has been fun getting around. For a guy who hasn't raced much, I've been to 6 or 7 different tracks this year, and that's just been kind of fun.
Yeah.
We've met a lot of cool people. Actually, the one I want back, he did a great job, by the way, at Mini-O's, and his name is flying through my brain right now. The FCA Orlando. Kyle McGraw. His talks at Mini-O's that he posted up. Just cool. Selfless. Very selfless. Hey, let's do this. He did it behind bikes. He did it under canopies. He did it during rain. He did it at night. He did it in the morning. I want to get him back on and he was so proud of his daughter for her accomplishment. And I would like to maybe rehash some of the guests and see what they're doing and talk about that. We do have to get the giant whale. That doesn't sound right. Our whale of a guest, Matt Bell, back in.
Jeez.
Sorry, that didn't sound right, the giant whale. Well, a whale is a really big gambler in Vegas.
Yeah.
And Matt was one of our bigger guests. So that didn't sound right. I'm sorry, Matt. Please, I apologize. That didn't come out right.
The high roll gambler.
Yeah.
This sounds even better than the giant whale.
But Matt Bell, I would love to get him back on. I know he's already done. They're doing their own media. They're doing an amazing job with 109. But I'd love to get him back on to shoot the breeze again and talk about where he is.
Yeah, and his wife Darla, because she's a massive supporter of all of this.
And she has her own things that she does.
I'd like to hear about all that too.
Yeah.
So, we'll get all that worked out.
But congratulations, man. We made it. And yes, we are two very different people. Mm-hmm. Very different people. But we have a passion for the exact same thing. And that's why we get along so well. But Derek, I want to thank you it's been awesome. You got me out of my shell. I never would have done this had it not been for you. And I look forward to next year. The confusion, the frustration, the travel, doing podcasts when we are completely exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe doing podcasts while we're driving.
It happens.
Yeah, but
it's going to be exciting. I'm like I said, I'm pumped for it. It's been a good year so far, and can't wait to see where it goes from here.
And we are still Derek with DBS Custom Fabrication and Handyman Services, and I am still Trey with Michelle and Trey Real Estate. And together, we put on this thing called the Beyond the Curve, the MX podcast. We're going to take a little break to enjoy Christmas and New Year's, and then we're going to be right back here, probably January 2nd, ready to go for 2024.
Yeah, I think we'll get some guests in between there, and I think maybe we'll do a little Island update right before we hit the ground running, and let everybody know where we're at, and what the plan is, and I'm pumped. Let's
I look
do
forward to it. But this is Beyond the Curve, the MX podcast. That is Derek Schaefer. I am Trey Heath. This has been episode 36. Y'all enjoy your families. Take a little time off and train like crazy. Bye-bye.
See ya.